Hello, and welcome to Lawfully Chaotic, Season 4, Episode 15. I'm now AI.
Yeah, I was gonna
Who,
say.
who replaced him with a robot?
I know, right? He's definitely AI for sure.
Hey, welcome everybody to Lawfully Chaotic, Season 4, Episode 15. What the hell is going on here? Episode 15. Tonight we have Kristen back with us from Kristen's
Hi.
Adventures. Hello, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me back.
You are most welcome. Oh, where'd our little chat thing go? We lost it. Our little chat.
Oh, you want it back?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Okay.
Well, no, then it's going to cover all the info. Can you move it around?
Oh, that's right.
No, unfortunately, you cannot move it around.
Oh,
I don't.
You're going to have to redesign the overlay.
I know. All right, we'll just do it the old-fashioned way. And whenever.
Actually, I don't even see it up. I don't see it as an option.
Oh,
You
interesting.
took it away
Weird.
from you.
It's like it's gone.
They thought you were using it.
Yeah, we'll do it the old-fashioned way where we just pop up the chat like that manually.
Mhm.
Thank you for joining us, 3 Miles, and Laughing Bear Games over on Instagram. Thank you for joining. For the rest of you who are watching this after the fact on VOD, perhaps, welcome and thank you. Announcements. Do we have any announcements?
Daggerheart, baby. Daggerheart. We are wrapping up Grimoires the Unseen for our Monday night game.
Cool.
So we've been play testing that. So the final part happens next Monday, the finale. And then the following Monday is session 0. We create characters in Daggerheart for our Monday night team. And I am currently writing
Awesome.
my Daggerheart campaign even as we speak. So
You got a seat open for that?
That's cool.
it's going to be live in the studio. It's not going to be remote.
So do you have a seat open? I'll fly.
So
in.
he's going to send us some plane tickets is what I heard.
Exactly.
I heard, yeah, Brian's going to send you some.
Does the
plane
$30 seat include a seat on the plane to get out there every Monday?
No, but maybe baggage handling.
Every Monday.
You know, after flying out there for one afternoon and evening last year when I came out for the Critical Role show at the Greek Theater, man, that's a fucking tough trip to just go and come back. That was hell.
I mean, it's still pretty amazing in this day and age that you can, like, hey, I'm going to go fly somewhere for a show.
Yeah, we left the tent
that's still,
and
that's still
saw the show. Yeah, and then
Yeah.
jumped on the red eye, and yeah, it was kind of brutal though.
Yeah.
Red eyes are rough. Red eyes are horrendous. Those shouldn't even exist.
So as I perfect the methodology on Monday nights, I will be offering a Daggerheart table on my website. Probably end of July, beginning of August. I actually like the method. I like the method that Matt has created for the idea.
Mhm.
He's ever since he closed up the era of the campaign series that he did, right? The end of Divergence and the beginning of a new era. I like the idea that he's doing Age of Umbra because when you do something in a setting like that, you can make as many worlds as you want, right? It's you can the Age of Umbra doesn't classify a world. It makes no difference. So the Age of Umbra is just simply a period of time, and I'm like that makes sense because Daggerheart is so perfect for anthology that I'm definitely going the anthology method with Daggerheart for sure.
I'm down with the anthology method. We talked.
Are you making your own campaign frame, or are you using one of the ones in the book?
I'm gonna read the ones in the book and see if the frames offer any insights. But I've been following Daggerheart for a very long time. More importantly, we play tested a few times.
Nice.
And I haven't run a module probably in 35 years. So, for me, if I don't write it from raw, I can't. It's more comfortable for me to just do my own thing. But I will say that 3 of my current campaigns, we did a really cool thing where we finished off everybody's backstories as a prequel to the beginning of the campaign. So we had 4 sessions that wrapped up everyone's backstory, so that now the journey in the world for them is them writing the campaign. So as they're journeying through the world, the campaign's actually being written after every session. So their experiences in the active session get written up by me after the fact. And that's what kind of, for the first time, I don't have an ending written yet. That's how
I was. Well, first of all, Matt said the trip to LA wasn't that bad. I mean, it wasn't horrible. I don't know. I was super uncomfortable on the flight home though. So I don't know.
Well, did they not give you a booster seat?
Fuck you.
Did they not give you your juice and your crackers? No juice and crackers?
It sounds like you should have had some of that special juice so you could
maybe. I don't know, man. I can't remember. Did you? I don't know if you had upgraded seats or not. He wouldn't sit with me, so it was.
I wonder why. Because you were uncomfortable. I mean, you got to crossfade with a little bit of vodka and Ambien, and you'll wake up in LA.
Yeah.
That's the best.
The last red eye I took from California had a screaming baby on the plane the whole time. And that was from California all the way back to Florida.
And you know what's probably sad about that is they probably took a red eye hoping it would be a less utilized plane, knowing that they would have a baby with them.
Right.
I feel like that's a good time to do that.
Yeah. Well, there's no good time to have a screaming baby on a plane.
No.
Yeah. Yeah, so Matt, you said you're enjoying Age of Umbra also. I haven't watched it yet, but I will.
It's definitely darker. It's definitely more. It's way more. It's just their characters are already interesting because they've accepted that they're probably going to die anyways. So the story is just really fun.
I may actually watch it tomorrow. I'm driving up to Wisconsin to go camping.
It seems like the episodes are going to be around 2 hours.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, they're not doing 4 hour sessions.
4 hours is really that's tough to.
That's rough.
Well, and if you think about it, it's a lot easier to edit and reuse your content within a 2 hour framework because 2 hours is the standard philosophy of editing software and most editing projects. So it's a lot easier to work in that time frame.
You got to explain that. You stumped
me.
So
AI is doing most of the editing now.
Okay.
It's a lot easier for AI to edit shorter periods of content than longer periods of content. So you can go into a 2 hour stretch of content and set up the AI to pull everything out. But if you want to do that with 4 hours of content,
editing was easy. Like editing, you said like editing software, meaning like I am going to edit software, not.
Oh,
never mind.
See, this is what happens when he doesn't have his juice and quackers.
Yeah.
I got my juice. I don't have my quackers.
He gets all quaky.
Less casual, I think, is good. Yeah.
The set is amazing. I love the set they built behind them this time.
Yeah.
Did you see the new intro video? Did you see the new intro video they built for it?
Yeah.
Super throwback.
Awesome.
I mean, that could have passed for like a Dark Sun intro. It's It's a really cool
Okay, I'm going to have this watched by next week's show.
Sure.
Okay,
yeah,
I promise.
Well, you have to do session 0 and session 1 and session 2 that's on tonight.
So
you got a lot of catching up to do.
Okay, no, that's fine. Given 2 hours, yeah, I'll do that.
Speaking of announcements, Brian, do you have any announcements? And then we'll ask Kristen if she has any announcements.
Oh, I thought we were skipping that, and just it seems like everyone was talking about Dagger.
No, we just went into the tangent cam by mistake.
Tangent cam?
We need a fourth. I'm going to do a layout with a fourth window that's just blank. Just focus on that one. Tangent cam.
Tangent cam.
Do I have announcements? No, not really.
See, yeah. So that was easy.
Yeah.
Kristen, what do you got going on?
Man, do I have any announcements? Well, I did last week. I put up a Daggerheart video.
Yes, I watched it. It was very good.
2,000 views in a week.
Holy cow!
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
nice.
Maybe it was 2 weeks ago, actually.
Yeah, it was 2 weeks.
Week and a half.
Well, I'd call it 2 weeks. I mean,
yeah.
You spend editing time on it, so it probably feels like 2 weeks.
It probably does, yes. So I have decided I need to double down on what's working and do more Daggerheart content.
Boom.
So
Stop.
I do not have a Daggerheart video ready for Sunday, so guess what I'm doing in the next 48 hours?
Daggerheart video.
Making another Daggerheart video.
Awesome.
To get it shot and edited and uploaded and everything. So it'll be quite a feat.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. There's the announcements. Now into the show.
All right. Good night, everybody. It's been fun.
Why do I look like I'm on Mars? I keep adjusting my white now. We really need a production
I
team.
thought maybe you had a sunburn or something.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Yeah. Okay. Anybody got anything to talk about?
Nah, nothing out there to talk about.
Week.
Actually, I got a couple interesting things to talk about. The shocker for me is White Wolf is back.
Oh my gosh, really?
Yeah, White Wolf is back. And I was like, really?
What are they doing?
I'm not entirely sure. It was like a really quick announcement. I would say I think they're rebooting it for the new modern era of Warhammer. But I'm not entirely sure. I hadn't had a chance to read the full article. But I do know that Jason Carl is at the head of the ship and bringing it back. Him. So we'll see what they do with it. There's I've got 3 people playing a Psy Warrior in my D&D games, and it's a cool character. I was shocked at how much fun that they were having it, and it came out of the Unearthed Arcana drop that D&D Beyond did.
That's the new one that they just did, right?
Yeah. But that content drop for their publication was weird because I'm like, I've got this one gal that's been a Psy Warrior for like 3 months. So I think the D&D Beyond build was actually already available before they did the content drop.
So that is, so is that a fighter class?
Yes, it is. Okay. Yeah. I think it's their. I mean, I think it's their attempt at a psychic fighter class.
Yeah.
And you use your
kind of build that with a rogue with a soul knife, or the
the soul knife is kind of gimpy though. Soul knife is kind of weird. She's a straight fighter class as a Psy Warrior. So she's not only is she tanky, but with her Psy pool. Her Psy dice. And the reason why I thought it was interesting of a character, because once again, it's one of those few characters that has a resource, that has resource management. Like the monk is really good because they have focus points. The fighters are typically pretty good because, they have action surge and, a couple other resource pools they can rely on.
And you got sorcery points too for the
sorcery points for sorcerers. So, then the Psy has this, the Psy dice. And I'm like, the characters that people seem to love are the ones that have resources. If you don't have resources, people are like, man.
So this kind of goes back to our discussion of, and I know Matt's going to call me out for this, but that's
of course he is, because he knows you're lying.
That's why I think, it kind of feels like D&D is getting a little bit stale in terms of, I told you I had a really tough time picking a character last time. I personally like characters that have a little bit more depth that you can do more with. I really did not like playing a paladin because it's just a one-trick pony.
Well, yeah, paladin's really simple. You get in there first. You have 3 rounds to dump as much damage as you possibly can, and then hope you're tanky enough just to kind of hang out and do okay.
So Gary says 5 or 4 someone's really doing.
Yeah, the whole new Scion class is the one that 2 of my. So 3 players are using the one from the new player's handbook, and now they've seen the new Scion drop, and they're like, "Oh, I want to see what this new Scion subclass could do." So I think I think fighters have become more popular again, and fighters with resources. Like, to me, another one-trick pony is a barbarian, right?
I agree. I tried a barbarian, and I also was not.
2024, the 2020. Yeah, I agree. Twisted is a total squish caster. It's what it's designed to do. It's designed to let you go right after the caster and get things under control. But the 2024 barbarian is super cool because they gave barbarian a lot more resource. You can now go into a rage and dish out temporary hit points every round when you go into a rage or while you're raging. They have the tree totem, the tree of life. Now you get this tail that can deflect damage. So if you are not damaged, it can assist your AC. So I think what they discovered in the playtesting is that their action economy is stale, and they're trying to counter that by giving everyone more resources.
I gotta have enough interesting stuff to do. I can get really bored with my character if they don't have enough interesting stuff. So I also will get too bored if we don't level up often enough because I'm not getting new stuff that I can do.
And that's the same. Like, you mentioned sorcery points. That's one of my favorite mechanics. I like playing sorcerers a lot. I like playing warlocks because there's, with the right combo of pacts and stuff, there's a shitload you can do with a warlock. Almost too much at high level.
But warlocks are still super squishy, which gives it a good balance.
I disagree on that.
You don't think they're super squishy?
No, not at all.
What's your hit point max?
It doesn't. What does it have to do with hit points? You're a caster.
Everything to do with hit points. If you're in my campaign and you have 49 hit points, you get hit for 39 points of damage. That means you have 10 left. Exactly. Squishy. Squishy.
What are you saying? If you have 100 hit points and you get full hit for 300, you're dead.
Yeah. Squishy.
A Hexblade Warlock, I think, is still a phenomenal class. You can deal a shit ton of damage, and I do not think you're squishy at all. You can wear tons of armor. Oh, there's our chat.
Yeah, I forgot that the Switch was in the comments box, and I found it.
Oh.
Like brand new. I'm like, good.
Well,
Lord.
that's just because. See, hence the nerfs. There you go.
It was operator error the whole time.
No, that's because I played my warlock like a freaking tank.
Yes. Yeah.
And I do not think warlocks are squishy if you play them right. If you build them right.
Well, see, that begs the question then. If you have to build a character a certain way to enjoy it, that sounds kind of boring.
I didn't say that.
Yes, you just did. If you build it precisely this way, you're not squishy.
First of all, the word precisely did not emanate from my mouth. So now you're
certainly did. I just did a better job at pronouncing it.
Where's the button for technical difficulties?
Make a difficulty check of 45.
I don't think it's too bad to be a little squishy.
That's right. I played my warlock like a paladin, and I played the paladin like a warlock.
Oh, geez. I don't think it's bad to be a little squishy as long as everybody works together to protect the squishy people. Well, I've played in plenty of games where, like, all the tanks just want to run in, fight, take care of themselves, and they don't help out the squishy people.
Well, it depends what your definition of squishy is.
Well, it depends on what your definition of people that you play with is. There is no squishy if you've got the team dynamic. I mean, squishy doesn't matter anymore. You play whatever you want.
I don't think in and of themselves, I would not consider warlocks squishy at all.
How many warlocks are in our Sunday game?
One.
Who's the warlock?
It's Rupert. It's Chris. Yeah.
Rupert's number one skill is staying at range all the time. Rupert's number one skill is to not get hit.
And of all of us, if I recall, I don't know if Rupert's ever actually gone down to 0 hit points.
No, because he knows he's squishy, therefore he doesn't engage in direct combat. That's my point. It's
not necessarily squishy.
Okay. We clearly need to help Brian define Squishy in the TTRPG
Squishy is somebody who they get hit in melee combat, and with one hit, you're probably dead.
That is a mechanical definition. In the role-playing definition, squishy means stay the fuck out of close combat, stay at range, and give the false impression that you're not squishy. So you think warlocks are badass, but it's only badass
playing in mechanical squish. Now you're just making shit up.
Of course I am. I'm a DM, for Christ's sakes. I make shit up all the time.
Oh,
right. Kristen,
what does squishy mean to you?
Settle this. You're gonna have to settle this. Otherwise, Jason and I might finally be getting a divorce.
No, I don't go on Twitter. I don't go on Twitter enough to make it a public divorce. So.
I know.
Too funny.
Is it still called Twitter or is it called something else?
X.
Twitter. It's called
X.
AOL now.
Shit.
I think it's called AOL Instant.
I've been commenting on the wrong. My social feed starts with a P. Pornex. I've been commenting on the wrong social platform. Holy shit.
No wonder you keep getting so many likes.
Yeah. Oh shit. I gotta stop doing that.
Uh-oh.
They probably think I'm a never mind. I keep forgetting.
Yeah, exactly.
It feels like we're talking around a beer.
Yeah. Right. Well, okay, suffice to say, we're going to have to agree to disagree on the fact that warlocks are or are not squishy. However, I will say that a Hexblade warlock you can deal a ton of freaking damage and not have to worry about being destroyed every single.
I want to go to the UK. The UK Games Expo. The UK Games Expo.
They just had that, didn't they?
That was the most.
Yeah, 42,000 people. 42,000 people. Third largest tabletop convention in the world. How epic is that?
I want to go to a convention.
Are you guys coming to Gen Con?
No, that's last year's stuff.
I don't know. You said you're going.
I am.
Yeah, I'm going to have to get back to you on that.
All right.
It falls right. Oh, wait. When was the date?
It's the first weekend in August. So it's like August 1st, 2nd, 3rd.
Going to him has got to be on the river or on the lake.
No, actually, we'll be driving to Delaware, so I will actually.
Driving to Delaware?
Isn't it on the way?
Why would you do that?
On the way.
It's a good coffee shop in Delaware. We're going to drive out there.
Well, the state of Delaware is a coffee shop.
Yeah.
I don't think it should qualify as a state. It's so tiny.
Gen Con gets like 75,000 people at Gen Con last year.
Ew. All the
year I went before, it was like 60,000, I think.
I told you. I
am going to Strategicon in LA. Evidently, there's 4 of them a year. I had no idea they were still running it. Yeah, it was pretty amazing.
I've never heard of that. Is that
hi, Trouble?
Is that
say hi?
War Games? Oh my gosh! It's a cool.
Oh, who's that?
Where's the other two and the trench coat?
That's my son Sebastian.
Hey, buddy.
Say hi, everybody. I'm eating a bread roll.
Okay, Sebastian, warlocks, squishy or not squishy?
Oh, they're super squishy. Only super squishy people play warlocks because they have identity crisis. I agree, Sebastian. That's very wise of you. Very wise of you.
Kristen, you should try to come out for GaryCon in Wisconsin.
When is that?
Nah, you can do that online.
What do you mean you can do that online?
They do GaryCon online.
They do?
Yeah, but then you can't sit around and have a beer together.
I can't drink beer anyway.
GaryCon is.
You could do some gluten-free beer.
Oh wait, it just happened.
I was gonna say they just had that. You missed it.
Well, the next I was talking about next year.
Oh, all right.
Okay, let's say. Okay.
Yes, it is a gaming convention. It's like an all-around gaming convention. So, tabletop war games, RPGs, TTRPGs, anything and everything you want to play. I actually enjoy Strategicon because when I used to go, I loved watching all the military tabletop games.
Yeah.
They had one there where they were. They had these beautifully modeled World War II fighter planes. On these 10-foot tall wooden dowels.
Oh yeah, I've seen
markings on them, and they'd have an entire floor like a 20,000-30,000 square foot section of the floor that looks like the sky. And they'd have,
wow.
they'd have movable clouds and everything. And they were doing, and like the pilots were the people standing with their plane. So, the person playing was the pilot, and they would be responsible for moving, their piece and everything. It was pretty cool.
Nice.
It was pretty cool.
Nice.
And the giant naval,
awesome.
The giant naval battles they do are so cool.
Yeah.
That sounds awesome.
Cool. But yeah,
I ended up getting tickets to go see the Glass Cannon's Call of Cthulhu show at Gen Con.
How'd they do? How do you like Glass Cannon?
I love the Glass Cannon.
Do you?
I love those guys. I've watched so many of their
I try to watch them, but it's so performative. I have a hard time following. It's it's a little too actor and actress for me. Like it doesn't have that gamer feel. I think I tend to watch the ones that are more nerdy, uncomfortable people who clearly don't want to be watched, but their GM clearly wants them online.
Oh,
those are my favorite ones because there's so many cringe moments and it's so much fun to watch.
Dork Tales is fun. Do you ever watch Dork Tales?
Yes, Dork Tales is really good.
I like Dork Tales.
I cut my teeth on the podcast Drunks and Dragons when I first. Oh my god, they start totally sober, and then by the end of the session, they're totally hammered, all of them.
I've always wanted to do that. I've always wanted to do like a stream session like that before.
Drunks and Dragons. Oh my god, such a good podcast.
So back to the classes.
Class list.
I would agree that the resources is becoming more popular, and I think because people like playing it, I still hear one of the things that I still hear when playing D&D is so and so, do you do anything else? I don't have any bonus action, so I guess I'm done. I can't do anything else.
Yeah, I still hear that a lot.
Right.
Yeah.
And
especially at lower levels.
Yeah.
If with Daggerheart, if you have hope and fear to spend, you can just keep going and going and going and going.
Exactly. It's another resource you can spend.
Yep.
And it's got stress in it too, so it has that resource too, the stress.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm really liking, the system, and also Grimoires of the Unseen, Josh's game. His approach to that, I'm still amazed because that's the closest thing to what I've had in my mind of if I were to sit down and design a game. He's come closer than anybody else to what I've been envisioning, which is, the skill tree and the sanity and, all that shit. He really, really hit on
I liked his skill tree thing a lot too. You know what it reminded me of is when you level up in Skyrim and you had like all those choices up in the sky, like in the constellation. Yes.
Yeah, you pick and choose.
Right. You'd be like, I want another level in this, and then I'm going to start leveling in this and take another level of that. That's
and again, and we've talked about this before, but again, when you start going down that road with mechanics, you don't have to worry about, because you mentioned, Kristen, you get bored if you don't level fast enough. Well, you start to get away from needing to, I'm now level 3, I'm now level 4. You're leveling specific aspects of your character, maybe more often, but less, of a lesser scale. You level in D&D, and depending on the level, it's like, okay, here's all these things that change. But you may level up a skill or two every single session,
right?
And it feels like you're getting something.
Like you got something new.
Exactly.
Yeah. So in Grimoires the Unseen, at the end of every session, there's no leveling. You get awarded for XP, and then you get awarded for role play. And then every time you use a skill, you tick off an empty box. And any of those skills that you tick off with an empty box, you're allowed to spend points in those skills. So it actually encourages the player to look at their character and go, I have some opportunity here to use some skills towards what I'm trying to get. So I'm going to, role play this out and see how it goes. And really there's no, their characters are so much fun. I'm really enjoying Grimoires the Unseen. The character creation was epic. And the way the players are loving their characters and having fun with their dark secrets, like their dark secrets, their phobia, and the theater of the mind is so smooth. Like it could easily be a narrative game, super narrative, but you could also set up a board pretty easily now because it doesn't use the measurement system. It uses the same system as Daggerheart, near, in base, near, medium, far, whatever the wording is that they use. But I've always wanted to get away from that. I've always wanted people to not feel constrained. Like to this day, both Pathfinder and D&D, because Pathfinder is basically a clone of D&D with a bit of a twist on the AP system. But they all follow that same structure of framework, which is, you're limited to what you can do, that you're limited to your movement. It's like, does it matter that there's a 5-foot difference? Just call it something else and get them into the battle and let them have fun. It just,
strangely enough, the grid system has never really bothered me in D&D. I'm anxious. I'm not married to it. I'm anxious to try, like Daggerheart or Grimoires, where you dispense of that. But that aspect never really bothered me. I think just the characters and how they relate to the action economy has it's gotten stale for me. And I'm not bagging on D&D. We had a somebody posted something. I think it was Matt. It was just a meme. I forgot what it was. Matt, you got to remind me. Like there was, it was in 3 parts, and one was like 1987. Oh, so-and-so the game is going to be a D&D killer. And then 99. Vampire the Masquerade going to be a D&D killer. And then 2025, Daggerheart's going to be a D&D killer.
Yeah, I don't know why people still like. That's another thing. I spent a lot of time. That's when I came across Kristen's video. I was going in and trying to get an experience of what everyone's review or, all the interpretations of the game are. And with the exception of Kristen, maybe one other person I watched, Ginny D does an okay job, but she's gotten a little too performative for me. I kind of miss the days when she's just kind of being very speculative and kind of across the table and being interesting in the minutia of the game. She's very kind of like, it's
like a skit almost.
Yeah, it's becoming like you're watching a skit. And it's not my demographic anymore.
It can come across as a little bit disingenuous when you reach that.
No, I don't enjoy that level of. There's not enough detail for me. Yeah. I want more detail. She's being very genuine in her skit. She's a performer, which makes me feel like she's less of a gamer. You know what I mean? Because it's like you're doing this performance skit.
That's what I meant. It seems to be that there is not to go off on another tangent, but it seems to be that there's kind of a line that you cross eventually where it feels like that. Like, okay, you're not a gamer anymore. Now you're like,
and that's what I fell in love with Kristen's videos so much, because I like the way she compartmentalizes stuff at the beginner to intermediate level, because I'm not a beginner and I'm not an intermediate, and that's what attracted me to her videos, because I need to relearn that so I can have better conversations with newer players. It's hard to have better conversations with new players when you haven't been a new player in 43 years. It's harder, but here's something super interesting. I was looking at the book schedule release for the remainder of 2025. I gotta give some props out to WotC. There's a lot of books coming out this year. We've got the Forgotten Realms campaign guide coming out. We've got the Forgotten Realms player guide coming out. We got Heroes of the Borderlands, which is the new updated starter set, which is an homage back to the Keep on the Borderlands.
When is that one?
That one's September 16th. Okay. Just in time for Christmas, obviously. In fact, they're all just in time for Christmas. The one coming in July.
I'm going to throw this out there. more is not always better, because look what happened last year.
But the subject matter is so different this year.
Oh, okay.
So I'd agree. Right. I would totally agree with you. If this just felt more like
was it last year or the year before, where
you're thinking of that year they put Spelljammer out.
I was just gonna say,
which was complete garbage.
And everything within like 6 months of that, either way.
Yeah, complete garbage. But July 8th, we're getting the Dragon Anthology, which looks really cool. It's a book of 10 dragon-themed adventures. I'd be interested in that. Another cool one coming out called Level Up, which is Companions and Compendium.
That's cool.
August 19th, Eberron, Forge of the Artificer. Companion book to Eberron Rising from the Last War. Eberron is something I want to spend more time with. But in September is the updated starter set, Heroes of the Borderlands. I'm very eager to see that, because that might also help me figure out a way to help new players get started, or train myself to realize there's a different way of approaching things with newer players, as opposed to players that have maybe been playing for 3, 4, 5, or 6 years. Right. November 1st, we get Forgotten Realms Player Guide. And then we also get, I guess they both come out at the same time, we get the Forgotten Realms Adventure Guide, which I'm super eager for that, because I am a total Faerun fanboy. I will admit it. I love it. There's so much you can do with it. And I kind of to like ignore all the canon of the lore so that people could create new lore. I put an end to Dale's Reckoning, and I started a new age. So I started Thaye's Reckoning, 1501 Thaye's Reckoning, which takes precisely place, which starts right after the movie that released a couple years ago. Thieves. Why do I can never remember the name of it. Thieves. What's the name of the movie?
Oh my God. Now I'm drawing a blank. I want to say Listen Like Thieves, because I've been listening to InXS like
No, the one with Christopher Pike.
I know what you're talking about. Honor Among Thieves.
Honor Among Thieves.
Oh yeah.
Which was a great movie. I loved it. So, thank you, Ugrin.
It did what it was supposed to do. As low as my expectations were, I think it was a great movie. It did what it was supposed to do. It felt like you were playing a D&D campaign.
There are rumors.
Hold on. Back. Okay, go ahead.
There are rumors, because you're going to like this one, that Dark Sun may finally find a home at WotC.
Oh, yeah?
There's rumors.
Okay.
There are rumors. We're starting to see more bundle packs of the second edition Dark Sun stuff.
That would be cool.
So I think it'd be cool to see how they pull it off, because that's a rough setting to convert to modern times.
Yes, it is.
It's a very rough setting. So
I think I'm eager to see all these, and don't get me wrong, I'm not bagging on D&D. Getting back to the whole D&D killer thing, nothing's going to be a D&D killer. It's impossible. D&D's never going to die. But it's nice. It's nice to have these options that are so different. This reminds me of when we like Matt, me, and Gary, and the rest of our group were playing in the 80s. We took a lot of time off of D&D and explored a lot of other games, and spent a few years, played all kinds of different games. We played BattleTech, we played Car Wars, we played Heroes, we played Shadowrun. And the nice thing is that once you kind of get that out of your system, no pun intended, we always come back to D&D.
I do have a question for you, Kristen. How did your Daggerheart game go? How'd that go?
Oh, it was awesome. I really liked it.
How long was the session?
Well, so the gaming itself was much shorter than the session, because he had to teach us how to play. So it was a 3-hour session. And the first hour was introductions, him letting us know his qualifications to run it, kind of went over, because it was on Demiplane, also kind of went over how Demiplane worked and what the system of Daggerheart is like with the duality dice and stuff. And then like this whole second hour was our characters. Even though we used pre-made characters, it still let us like choose what we wanted for weapons.
Right.
So by the time we did all
these were characters made ahead of time or not.
Yeah, they were. I played a frog person called a ribbit. I played a ribbit, and she was the rogue. She was like a thief, I think, or something. And then we really, by the time we did all that, we only had an hour left to actually play.
Wow.
But the hour we did play was really fun. It was like this little, it was this little intro scenario where we had all been thrown in a jail cell together and we had to like escape. And we got to a point where we had to like cross a chasm on a bridge and there was some bad guys on the other side of the chasm. And so we got to see how combat worked and stuff as well. And it was really fun. I liked it.
What did you think about the combat system?
I really liked it a lot. Very much so. I liked
I wanted to ask you that because you're a GM.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so different for a GM to participate at that level. You know what I mean? It's a real participation.
I was obviously on the player side for that.
Right.
But I do want to run. I was thinking of running the free quick start adventure that's online.
Yeah.
That seems really cool to check that out. I was actually listening to somebody's stream of it today to see like how it went for them and whatnot. But I liked it because it was neat to not have initiative, and it was nice to not to have to measure distances and stuff. You know, like as a whole, we were able to collaborate and come up with some ideas to like take some of these bad guys down, even if it meant the same person went 2 or 3 times. But we all still felt involved, even though maybe, you know, their character wasn't necessarily like taking
the collaboration level is pretty interesting. And I love the fact that the dice determine the initiative. Like, you know, if you roll with fear, the DM takes over.
Yep.
If the DM rolls with hope, then the players take over. Or if the DM runs out of points, the players take over. You know, so I just love how, you know, and I think what that really disrupts is it makes it almost impossible to play a min-max character because it doesn't make any sense to create that formula anymore because now it's more of I don't know if anyone's done this. So in the MMO world, player versus player games in the MMO world, we used to develop these teams called 5v5, 6v6, 7v7, 8v8. And these were these teams that you specifically built because the team mattered more than the individual. And I feel like Daggerheart's done that, where the team is so good, there's no real reason to min-max a character anymore. Because now what you're looking at is, what can my character do to help the team even more? You know, and I think that's really a paradoxical shift away from what traditional TTRPGs have kind of developed over years.
That's an interesting observation.
One particular mechanic that I liked a lot was if you teamed up and like did a combo move with somebody, which we did in that, was cool. We both rolled to hit, and whoever's die was higher, we got to use their result, but it still combined both parties' damage.
That's awesome.
So if I like had rolled lower, but my damage still counted. So I was like, that's awesome. I didn't feel like I had like failed at the combo because I rolled lower.
Was it a pretty streamlined combat system compared to D&D?
Like streamlined in what way? Like, what do you mean by streamlined?
Well, streamlined in just keeping the action going. You know, because of that collaboration, players are whose turn it's not are less bored. A combat that doesn't take 2.5 hours.
Right. I would say yes. The only thing I would say as a GM is you got to make sure that everybody, even though there's not turns, it does have a sense of like if you have a player that's a little more on the shy side, they might not speak up and they don't have an official turn.
Gotcha.
But I think as long as you recognize that as a GM and you notice it, and then you make it a point to ask them, you know, like, what are you doing while this is going on? What do you want to do? Type of thing. Because it can become easy for like a couple people to maybe try to hog the spotlight in a sense. I suppose it's possible. But I've heard there's also some ideas they said in the book for if that happens, you can use like little tokens or something for like spotlight moments. And you have, once you've like, please don't ask for another spotlight moment until everybody's had a chance to have one, kind of thing.
Right.
Or whatever, without having a turn order.
Interesting.
Depends on how well, I guess, everybody playing works well together. You know, if you've got a well-oiled team there that plays together all the time.
In the play testing, we would play a almost 3-hour session, and we were able to get in 2 combats. So the combats seemed to resolve in like an hour. So you had 2 hours worth of combat with 2 separate combat scenarios, but you still had an hour of role play. So it had a nice balance in there for me. A typical combat in traditional D&D mechanics is about 2.5 to 3 hours.
Yeah.
Right. But when we switched to the 4 AP system, our combats now rarely go over an hour and a half. If we're fighting a big bad, sometimes it'll go into the 2.5 hour mode. But there are times in the traditional D&D combat that if they were fighting a big bad, it was a 2-part session. Because I didn't want people to feel overwhelmed, and it's kind of nice to have a stopping point. I feel like 3 hours is it. Anything beyond 3 hours starts to feel like work.
Yes.
You know, and
I once had a GURPS game at my house. I really don't like GURPS anyway, but
yeah, GURPS feels like work.
It was a 4-hour session, and I had 2 turns in that 4 hours, and I fired an arrow and it missed. And then a couple hours later, I fired another arrow and it missed.
Are you saying it was
all I did in 4 hours?
Combat or a 4-hour play session?
4-hour play session that was entirely all combat.
Well, when we play in Gary's campaign, I mean, we start 6:30 and play about 11:30. So
I don't mind a 4-hour gaming session. I think that's fantastic. I don't even mind a
want
4-hour combat. I don't mind a 4-hour combat as long as I don't only get 2 turns.
That's why I asked. Was it 4 hours just of combat?
It was.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
It was, and I only went twice.
Yeah,
and then all I did was I rolled and I missed, and then I sat and waited. And then 2 hours later, I rolled and I missed again, and then I sat and I waited, and I was like, "Well, this is fun. Come over again sometime."
That's ridiculous. The 4 AP system definitely, and that's why that's why I say that I reached the point again in those phases where, to me, D&D's become a little bit stale. It's not necessarily the character choices. It's like I said, it's how they interact with the mechanics, and feeling like, oh, I've done it all before. These 6 classes I don't like because they're boring. These 6 I like, but I've done them all over and over again. And it's just that feeling of, it's just the feeling of like it's getting stale again for that very reason. So that's kind of why I feel like I'm still enjoying playing, but I feel like I'm kind of back at either the top or the bottom, whichever the case may be.
Well, here's a question.
Where I want to start exploring other games.
Yeah. Take
a little break from D&D and then come back to it.
What about, do you think all the interest, though, should maybe come from more role-playing? Like, the mechanics of your character is the mechanics of your character, but how amazing can we make this game if we all delve into the role-playing?
Absolutely, yeah. But again, when you play a ton, and not that I do, but when you play the game long enough, it can sometimes feel like repetitive, I think.
Oh yeah.
Even role playing and even developing those stories, it's still, I don't know. I love role playing. I love narrative play. But it's still about, to me, the game is still about rolling the dice. Okay.
But you do a lot of dice rolling even in role playing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would actually argue you do more dice rolling in role playing, the narrative structure, than you do in combat. There have been
because the dice kind of read the narrative.
When you take 2 arrow shots in 4 hours, I'll agree with that.
I mean, yeah, we do probably spend a
that's true. We fuck around a lot.
So there are 2 new games I want to mention really quick. Chaosium released Age of Viking, which looks very interesting.
Okay.
And there's also one that has really got my interest peaked. It's by Soul Muppet Publishing.
Oh, which one? Which one?
It's sorry, no, that is Stygian Library. There's the Stygian Library.
Okay.
But sorry, I was thinking of the one by Two Little Mice. Outgunned Adventure. It's basically a pulp tabletop RPG, where it's very much in the vein of Indiana Jones, but it's not the character Indiana Jones. It's that kind of setting and that world of just kind of a pulpy kind of, you're a detective, or you're you're an illicit lawyer, or you're an explorer, and you kind of come together to like find something or find somebody, or it's just like this. I don't know, man. It's Indiana Jones meets the Mummy is the best way to describe it.
That sounds cool.
Yeah, so I'm super
cool.
I'm super interested, because you could be the captain, you could be the daredevil, the hunter, the smuggler, the technician. I love character names that are so different. You know what I mean? Like, they're just super different. It's why I'm really excited for when Brandon Sanderson's game comes out for Cosmere. I think that's going to give everyone a run for their money. And once again, Cosmere is using the difficulty check system. Yep. The DC system is it, man. It's here to stay. It's not going anywhere. It's the system that's at the spine, or I should say, it's the mechanic of every system's spine. No matter who the publisher or the maker is, for the most part, they seem to stick with that mechanic of difficulty check, because it resolves things so much easier than the idea of not having that.
Right.
You try to resolve off so many individual skill checks, it could be a little bit stacking and a little bit daunting. But if you're resolving a difficulty check system that everyone feels like they're familiar with, it seems like the flow of play just does so much better. It really does.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I'm excited for all these new. I'm not going to stop playing D&D. I mean, I still do enjoy it, but I'm excited for all the new stuff. I think it's really cool that over the past couple of years, that there are so many new options that are coming out, and it'll be interesting. I'm interested to see how the mechanics differ, and do some work better, do some feel less constricting, and just see how they go. I have an idea though, and I'm not wrapping up unless you guys want to, although it's been 55 minutes. Wow.
Yeah, we got to wrap up. It's almost been an hour. Yeah.
All right. Well, in that case, then I'll throw this out there. Kristen, you want to be on the show? You want to come back next week?
Sure.
Okay. Then I will make a point. I'm making a promise to everybody out there. Okay. I will watch Session 0, Session 1, and Session 2 of Umbria, so I can see Daggerheart in action, and then we can speak more in depth, or I can speak more in depth to it next week. So,
okay.
Remember, this has been recorded.
Pinky swear.
I don't know.
It's on the internet now. You can't take it back.
So it's accurate and true,
right?
So yeah, I think that would be good, because I would like to. I mean, there's so much excitement around Daggerheart.
Can we try? See, this is why I throw a curve into his plans. This will force him to have to make a new overlay. Can we get Game Master Mom to join us so we can talk about Daggerheart with her? I'd love to do that.
Yeah, I'll see if she's available.
Yeah, if she's available.
I was already gonna switch the layout so that we can get the chat over non-other info, but I'll do a 4-person also.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I'd love to have her on.
And you just gave me stuff to do, so now I'm not gonna have time to watch all those.
No, you can do it while you
were doing it in the car. You said, I heard you.
Oh, I will. I got a 4-hour drive to and from Wisconsin this weekend. Wait, there was something else that I was going to say. Jay. Oh, I know what we could do also.
Play a game?
Well, no. Well, yeah. What if we actually played like a half an hour of Daggerheart?
We could.
Well, we could roll up characters. That would be fun.
Oh, that would be fun.
I think what if we did pre-made characters that actually played a little?
Something?
I think when we're rolling characters, I don't know if that's a little bit boring for people watching. I wonder if we come to the table with pre-made characters, talk about the game for a little bit, and then what if we actually try playing for 30 minutes?
It sounds like he's volunteering to run 30 minutes of a game that he hasn't even opened the book for.
I know. You know how well that's going to go.
Well, I wanted to play, but I can run it.
I want to play. I'm just putting that out there because I know Jason's ego is so huge. He'll insist on running it.
Put up or shut up.
Put up or shut up, man.
And he's already been running some of it.
All right. Maybe we'll give ourselves 2 or 3 weeks. Maybe we can actually prepare something. I know we talked about doing this for ages.
Well, let's get with Game Master Mom.
Okay.
And because the one thing I do like about Daggerheart is you can run with as many people as you want or as few as you want. It's very easy. It's a very easy system to scale because the dice resolve a lot of the scaling for you. Yeah. And with the resource economy, it's really easy for players to use that resource economy to balance out the fact that there's only 3 or 4 players. So. Right. Yeah, let's see if we can get Game Master Mom to join us next week. Talk about it.
It'll be fun.
Okay. And then in Creator's Corner, I'll drop some blurbs in Creator's Corner to get us ready for a game. So,
okay. Well, regardless,
challenge accepted.
Maybe not on Thursday night on the Thursday night show, but definitely we should pick a slot and we should actually run a short session and stream it. I think that would be awesome.
Well, I know, and in Creator's Corner, I know Kristen published her availability. So if we can get a Saturday availability for Game Master Mom, my Saturday game ends at 5:00. So see, this is why Brian only plays 1 game a week.
Dude, I have 4 fucking months, 3 months to use my boat, okay? 3 fucking months. And then the weather sucks again for 9, so
you know what you're doing? You sell the boat.
Yes.
And you game more.
Sell the boat.
In Florida.
Hey, I can't help it that I live in the most beautiful country in the world. I can't help it.
The beautiful country.
Yeah. The Independent Republic of California. Come on over.
Yeah, right.
Lots of fun.
I told you I'm eagerly awaiting, and then I'm going to show up at your fucking doorstep. And you're gonna have
I'm about to go to war with a gopher that keeps eating all my cucumber plants.
Oh my god! If you got some land, I'll just put a tiny house on it.
I got 14 acres. I got plenty of acres.
All right, you're gonna get the gopher. We're gonna get him.
Oh yeah, I've got the big propane tank out and everything. I'm ready just to fill the holes and blow up the yard. Man.
All right, Bill Murray.
Yeah, right.
Why don't you buy some cats? Or a little an ill-tempered terrier.
We'll have Kristen stars tonight. Kristen, where can we find you?
You can find me over on YouTube at Kristen's Epic Adventures. All my other socials are pretty much the same too, but you're best off going to YouTube.
Hey, Brian, where can we find you?
Find me at RPG and Co. Instagram's probably the best place. Hit me up. I'm always checking that. Hit me up with a DM. Check out the website at playrpgandco.com. And other channels, they're some combination of either of those 2. So, Jason, what about you?
You can find me over at what's that place with all my socials on it? Linktree. Find me over at TTRPG Academy Linktree, or you can visit my website.
Right there, Linktree.
Yep. Or you visit me at my website, ttrpgacademy.life. Look for some available games. I finally got my review page up. And I am.
I can't wait to hit that fucking thing. Be right back.
Fortunately for me, you have to send me your review and then I publish it. So,
Jason was extremely abusive to me and belittled.
Oh no!
If he didn't play such a squishy character, he'd have more fun.
Stop making squishy characters, Brian.
Okay, hey, TPK.
Tell a story, Jason.
Play a game.
And most importantly, Kristen, you remember?
I don't. Sorry.
Be kind.
Be kind.
That's most important.
Everybody.
Thank you, everybody.